Welcome back, Divine Feminine. We're here to do your update for this week. Now, energy is fluid. Sometimes we can be a bit further behind. It is good to refer back to the previous video to see where you're at energetically. Now, we are moving into very changing times. We do have these a week ahead of the crowd out in our membership if you do wish to join us. And very separately within the membership, we do cover the element for divine masculine and the element for divine feminine, plus our coaching sessions and the Discord that does support you day by day. Now, without further ado, let's take a look at the energy. Now, those of you that have looked at the title may say, oh gosh, what does this mean? And I think, it was really synchronistic that I did the karmic third party first, then I did the divine masculine. It was really flowing through. And by the time we came to your read, it made perfect sense to me. The one thing I can say is if you have got to a point spiritually, let's look at the reading, crowning energy. If you have got to a point where you know what you're fighting for and you know what you want and what your benchmark is, I think you're doing quite well. And I think spiritually, sometimes we can look at the notions of what does it mean to be divine? What does it, how to keep that equilibrium? And being divine doesn't mean that we're a doormat. Being divine doesn't mean that we don't have to be perfect. B, we can admit where we have faults ourselves. You also can say, okay, is this balanced? Now, I do feel what you're not giving up on is your light. You're not giving up on what the benchmark of what your personal needs are. And I think that's respectful. Some of you could be getting to a point that you are feeling you're having to give in. And if you are doing such, you may find by not giving in and knowing what the benchmark is of what you need and being in that detachment, it's actually going to aid you more. So a pocket group of you could be in that notion of having to give in, having to accept. Yes, there are some things that we do have to look at in a very realistic way. And that can be, okay, right now it's not right. They could be with the karmic. What would we need to do to change that cake, which is the whole benefit of the Members Hub and the Joint Connection Weekly, to really check in to where we are energetically. Each one of us will go through ascension patterns and trends that are very similar. Again, those attachments through the chakras, past life energy, etc., and personal blockages, they're the things that can hinder us. And through the astrology, the ascension check-in, we can actually see where we energetically are at. Now, I do see through this read, there is a pocket group of you that could feel that you have to give into a circumstance, but look to the title, drawing a line in the sand. Sometimes we have to be cruel to be kind, and that doesn't mean to say you're not going to get your blessings, you're not going to get your outcome. But if you are giving into a circumstance, it might be something of a pattern that you're tuning into. Others of you are thinking, lowering your guard, being understanding doesn't mean weakness. It can mean that you're just getting the reason why this person is struggling in a circumstance, or you particularly. Now, looking back to this read, let's take a look at the past at this point in time of potentially what some of those things were. Now, there could have been for some of you that feeling of abandonment. And, I remember going through a stage of my ascension and the very notion of abandonment did come in. The good thing is it is moving to the past position. Inner child wounds. Why could those things be coming up is because we did have Venus in Cancer and Mars in Cancer. Now, those vibrations are moving to the past, which is a good thing, but sometimes we do need to revisit them. This also could be that you felt somehow that you abandoned your compass, that you abandoned your personal needs, and you put your own personal needs on the back burner. And so for some of you, it could be, if you're still in that notion, that you directly could be feeling out of alignment, and that due to this circumstance playing out at this point in time is that, how could I articulate it? Is that it is frustrating you, B, but you're drawing into a need to have to drop something. You're drawing into a need of this is holding you back. But you also could be making these sacrifices within self, even if it is hurting you, because you're fearing an outcome of this circumstance. Now, I do feel that's quite temporary, and I do feel from the cards how they're coming up at this point in time, you could be very hard on yourself at this point. You could be very feeling like you're not in your own inner nature. You could be feeling that you want to get grounded, feeling that you want to be more nurturing towards yourself. but it also could be how it directly has impacted your heart chakra. Now, I'm noticing the goddess of nurturing, in your heart space. And it could be that you're feeling that you're not being loved on, you're not being cared for, and it's holding you down, it's pulling you back. But it also could be where you feel I'm looking at nurturer energy and the yellow energy, especially that did come through in Divine Masculine's read, which is really the yin to the yang, of you needing to be a good advocate for yourself and saying, okay, what is okay and what's not okay. And it's not that it's not being self-righteous. It's like, is this going to work for me? Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Is that, am I doing things that are taking me to my bliss, or am I constantly doing things that are extremely uncomfortable? Now, that does make sense as well. We do have this portal at the moment that, Jupiter entering into Taurus is really this moment where we could be taking on a masculine and a feminine role. We could be looking at the more, how we're directly impacted by that. But I'm noticing through this rebirth is you could be feeling a little bit unsure of yourself, and you're like, okay, maybe I need to lower my guard right now, and maybe I need to lower my swords. I'm noticing from how this reading is flowing is that you are a very strong energy, and you do know that you have to. I think some of you are going to be questioning, okay, what is my north? What is my purpose? How am I feeling in my life? Am I loving on myself? I do feel to a degree every time you do shift your focus onto self, you do get communication with Divine Masculine. This can be coming through in the 5D, signs, synchronicities, and it could make you second guess yourself. But I feel a lot of you really moving through this week, you're going to be coming into a better vibration. I do feel regardless of what they're doing, even if they're not being vulnerable towards you, you do want a very strong masculine. This is something that you're needing. Somebody that is going to be able to handle you having your own personal style, vibe, attitude. You finding your own north, finding your own compass and your destiny. And it doesn't mean to say that you are detached, but it does mean that you need purpose. And I feel you're trying to do things that are taking you to your bliss. You are looking at the strength and how far you have come. There's also a chapter here they're making reference to that is not yours to ascend. So what do I mean by that? It does appear to be that for some of you, you could be aware that a pattern or a cycle within the karmic cycle needs to wrap up. And so that directly means that you know that you're not the blockage in it, but it could be preventing that ascension process for you to go to this next chapter in your belief. I also feel you're wanting this person to be more open with you. But you do, could it be that you feel they're hiding something? Could it be that you feel your energy is changing in relation to this and you're moving into detachment? I'm hearing say, Sarah, Sarah, whatever will be. And it's sort of like, I do feel you're getting into that nonchalant vibe, which is kind of good because it means things are becoming more neutralized after the eclipse. You're waiting to see the old version of Divine Masculine. I get that there's this light bulb moment you're having. I don't know why I get this chuckling. I'm looking at this feminine and she's chuckling. I'm noticing the cup in front of her. You're keeping something quite to yourself, but it could be this sense of amusement. This could be a text message. This could be a memory that you shared with this person. This could be a revelation inside yourself that this person finds you deeply attractive. And there's a bit of giddy energy here. I do feel some of you are, you're doing you. You're definitely doing you. And you're like, no, I don't want this person to think I can wait forever. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I think, your self-purpose, whoa, yeah, you're like, I'm not saying that. Yeah, whatever they're doing that is keeping them up in their head, sometimes it can be where they're emotionally stuck. They're feeling they can't articulate themselves. I do feel, especially for those of you that have been in communication, I feel this person's actually received the PDF and they know that you're not waiting forever. Okay. This could it have been an ultimatum? Yeah, but I don't really look at it as an ultimatum, especially when you do look to the crowning energy. It's like just admitting that something's really off kilter and not balanced, and knowing exactly what you want. Like, I want a relationship. I don't want dramas. I don't want, karmic situations being dragged into a brand new circumstance. I want a clean slate with this. And I really feel this is what is going to actually bring the health to the connection. And so you might have been carrying that as a burden that it had to stay the same due to a circumstance. But now I feel that you're being very determined that you can't carry that anymore. And that's an unrealistic expectation. That change is inevitable, change is happening. Asking you to be patient, empathetic, and understanding is one thing, but then also looking to the point of saying, am I actually giving my power away? And I do know what I want, and I'm trying to not drag karma with me. I feel that Goddess of Forgiveness is at a foundation level. How do I explain it? I feel you're determined. I feel you're willing. It's not about, it could come across to divine masculine as a very assertive divine feminine. If they are having insecurities, you could be thinking, gosh, is this going to cause conflict for this person? Does it mean that I'm not empathetic and understanding? No, not at all. But you are making a statement, I feel, for many of you, either coming through in your or in a direct conversation. And I feel that you really are looking at it and saying to yourself, I need to protect my vessel. I need to protect my destiny moving forward. This is so much more than intimacy. This is so much more that, crosswise. I think some of you may second guess yourself. I'll be perfectly honest. I'm going to pull a chakra card, and I really felt a major conversation. Those of you that did come into communication, don't stress if you didn't, because I really do feel there's a shift here, but I really do feel this week a lot of you could potentially move into that second guessing of self. Okay, what is this in relationship to, please? What's gone down? Yeah, you like pulled the brakes on. It's like, look, I need to recoup. I need to recover. I need so much more than, I need so much more. I want the foundation. I want the boundary. I want to be able to say that I need to go do something for myself, and I have hopes and dreams and aspirations. You're taking a grounded approach to it. You're taking a realistic approach to it. Divine masculine might have felt quite threatened by this, especially because there is a tribal situation going on. Maybe something that they didn't want to address. And I think you've just happened to call the elephant out of the room, be it through the 3D or the 5D. Now, when I say 5D, it also could be the 4D. It's like, you've faced your fears, you've looked at these things, you've realized that there's an evolution going on inside of yourself. You're a little bit worried of how it might be taken. If there has been a conversation, you could be worried that they've misinterpreted it. You're trying to get grounded. Look at how she's sitting there trying to have a cuppa and chuckling. And, you've just really said to yourself, if something is for me, it's truly going to be for me. But you're really looking at, the endurance that you've had, and you need a moment for yourself. So you're mapping, you're planning, you have some great creativity coming through, but I also feel opportunities from the left. So I can't say if you snooze, you lose. I don't feel that. I feel there's a sense of selfhood this week. I do feel especially that this person is getting the PDF and they sort of understand it's time to pay the ferryman. There's something that needs adjusting here so that this direct connection can get off the ground and bode best. If you do want to see next week's energy or the joint connection, come through, click the bell and join us. Love and light. I'll see you on the other side.